no MLB, no NFL, no NBA, no WNBA, no college football, no NHL, no MLS. Was the slowest sports day of the year. Mikey, I know you're upset about the no WNBA. Big fan of Matt McCusker's wife. But
that is so disrespectful to golf.
Really?
That is very disrespectful.
British Open is going on. Like,
I know.
Probably family. You and your wife have, I'm gonna say, half a dozen kids. For those with math problems, that's 6.
That sounds like more than 6. Half a dozen.
Half a dozen sounds like more than 6. It really does.
Try to blend my home life with my work life as much as I can. That means if my wife can bring 1 or 6 kids into the office and they can be around our players and for me to get a chance to see them, it's important. And so it's a sacrifice. I wouldn't be able to be here if she didn't take care of the things outside of being a head coach at Notre Dame.
I get the sense that he approaches it from a very fatherly approach. And you see the recruiting class of this year. They got, I think it's 6 former NFL, like top name NFL dudes.
Yes.
And their sons are going to this program. And we speculated, oh, maybe Bill Belichick will be the one that would be able to get those dudes.
Notre Dame's very own Shane Gillis. This is everyone in the audience while Shane Gillis delivers the funniest ESPYs opening of all time, because the crowd was very uncomfortable and very silent and didn't really love a lot of the jokes.
He's great for this whole generation because it's like nothing's off limits. It's comedy.
I do like when he hits like a really funny joke. The crowd is uncomfortable and he goes, "Oh, well, come on, lighten up."
This was almost the Ricky Gervais version in the sports world.
Exactly.
And they needed it. They need it because for the most part, we put them on pedestals. They're not above the fray of getting made fun of, just like everybody else out there.
Yes, I think it's very good. It's very healthy. Also, the joke where he pretended that his friend Matt McCusker's wife was a 4-time WNBA All-Star, and everybody cheered and clapped. And then he said, "I got you guys. That's just my friend's wife. I knew you didn't know WNBA players." Just sort of the pandering that's very prevalent in modern day society, sort of the signaling. It's like, "Oh, yes, I am such a fan. I really support this." It's like, gotcha. That was one of my favorite jokes.
It was very disappointed to see that this crowd of athletes was that. Like, they acted like a crowd of like Hollywood celebrities. Like when, like when Ricky Gervais was doing that Golden Globes, I think it was Golden Globes, and calling everybody out, and they were all so pretentious and couldn't.
Yes.
You wouldn't expect the athlete crowd to be like that to this kind of humor.
You're joshing around, and
It's like locker room humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a hypocrisy there, because I bet you all those guys would laugh at all of that stuff in private.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
in public, like, "Oh, that's inappropriate. Like, I can't laugh at that." Yeah, there's a big hypocrisy there, I would say.
Yeah. That's
what
an
do you think is
immediate.
going to happen if they laugh at it? Like, if the cameras on them are laughing at a joke, they're going to lose a sponsorship. What?
I don't know. I mean, I think
You're
that a
gonna
lot
get
of
cut. That's what they think. Oh, you're gonna get cut.
SGA, his $250 million contract should be out the window if he giggles at a funny joke that it sort of offends a person in the sports world. Really got to walk on eggshells there. So we had the ESPYs, Shane Gillis getting in there, making some funny jokes to a brutal crowd. We're in sort of the dead zone of the sports world. Okay, look, this is us right now. You see, Michael Scott. Okay, because yesterday there's no MLB, no NFL, no NBA, no WNBA, no college football, no NHL, no MLS. It was the slowest sports day of the year. Mikey, I know you're upset about the no WNBA fan. You're obviously a huge WNBA fan. Big fan of Matt McCusker's wife. But
that is so disrespectful to golf.
That is very disrespectful.
British Open is going on. Like,
I know.
probably
it is very disrespectful to golf. Although we had to say golf is sort of more of a niche sport. These are all kind of
there we go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Except MLS. I don't know. That's getting more and more popular. I don't know.
Is golf considered a niche sport? Like, what kind of viewership does it get compared to like an MLB game or something?
Oh, this is a good question. What is your thought on this, Mikey? My take is that a sport is less of a sport the more simple machines that are implemented into it.
Oh.
So like cycling, I know it's really difficult and really hard, but it's like glorified exercise, and you make a race out of it, and then you could put like CrossFit in there.
Interesting.
I like that a lot. So it's like the machine is the intermediary between the performance.
Yeah.
Right.
So I completely agree.
Like, do you know how to? Are you like an elevated machine worker, tool worker?
Yeah.
You're basically
Is this a manufacturing line? Are you working the lines? That's the difference. Or
boy, those
or you
cyclist
just-
fans are
or
going
you
to
just
come
hand
out.
a group of people a ball and say who's just the best raw athletic talent here. That's
Well,
what a
what-
real sport is. One singular ball.
No, what you guys are now arguing for is actually the most prominent and the most true sport is simply track and field. It's athletics.
If Tom Brady threw a football to Noah Lyles, you think he's catching that?
No, but he's
Noah
going to be
Lyles. I forgot
he's going to
about
be
that guy.
really
He sucks.
cocky and annoying about not catching. Oh, Tom, you threw the. All right, no, you know what I
That
mean. though. If
guy
we're-
has
Go ahead, Mike.
selected that plucked the worst personality to choose out of his professional athlete personalities to pick that he obviously manufactured. That one is oops mistake.
Yeah, we did talk about it last. I think it was last year, Scott. We were talking about when the Paris Olympics were going on, and he was so cocky after winning the 100, and then so cocky going into the 200. Just very unbecoming behavior. But my point is that if we're arguing that the more intricate the machine, the less of a sport it is. Well, then if you have no machines, you have no equipment, then track would be the most pure sport, would it not? See that? You got nothing.
By that definition, yeah. But
That is my
dynamic motion, I would have
Scott?
to say, is also part of that definition. And I
Oh,
don't
that was
think
good.
track-
Dynamic motion. That's a great little
I
phrase.
don't
right
think explosion, all that kind of stuff. That's
Hurdles, long jump.
It's the most mechanically pure.
All right.
Like
you guys are stepping on.
technique.
You're stepping on my truth. Okay. Okay. You're stepping on my truth. I hate when people say that. Okay. That was a joke for everybody. I don't say that. All right. Let's take a look actually at the report or the viewership ratings for the previous All-Star games here. Because we talked about this in a lot of our shows. The NFL, the Pro Bowl weekend has become a circus. The NBA also, like what they're doing, these just like little kid basketball camp games. MLB All-Star game was pretty cool the whole weekend. The home run derby, the All-Star game was actually a great game. It was quite successful. And it's interesting to see that it absolutely dominated compared to NBA and NFL. NHL, this graphic here says they dumped their All-Star game. A little bit unfair because they just remaneuvered it and made the Four Nations face-off, which was very popular. So NHL, I think they got to get rid of that there. But what do you make of the MLB really popping over the other major leagues here in terms of their All-Star weekend?
Are they just talking about the flag football game that the dudes went out there and did? Like that was the viewership? If so, that's way higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, actually 4.7 million people watching a flag. There's no way, dude. That's got to be like, that's got to be the combined of all of their broadcast, of all of their events over the course of the weekend.
It's like every Buffalo Wild Wings in the nation had it all.
They're inflating the numbers with a deal with Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how. So I don't know. It's just interesting to see that the MLB, which has struggled with their ratings and their attendance in the last few years, has made some changes here and has kind of turned out to be pretty darn good. Speaking of some of these other sports here, there's a very hot take that is floating around the interwebs, okay? Share a hill that you're willing to die on. This person says, football is the best sport in the world, but the worst sport to watch in person. Hot take is obviously football is by far the most popular sport in the United States. I have strong thoughts on this, but I want to get your guys' feelings on this. Football being the worst sport to watch in person.
I think it's more so that it's just so great to watch it on TV than it is just horrible to watch in person. I think just the TV experience, all the camera angles, like it's such an enhanced view of the game versus
True. So you're basically saying, to use a Yale word, the delta between the TV experience and the in-person experience is very large.
I would say that the delta is larger.
I hate when people say, just say the distance between. Okay, stop it, Scott. Okay,
That way too many syllables and words implemented there when you could say delta.
no,
Two syllables, one word.
Okay.
no, it's pandering and it's peacocking.
Pandering to who? The mathematic community?
Yeah, sorry, I used the wrong word. It's peacocking. And when you say the delta is actually very okay. What do you think?
The more verbose you are, I think, is a little more peacocking. And I've been
Okay.
guilty of that. Guilty as charged.
Guilty with the pinches. Scott, what do you make of this?
If you're in the stands and you kind of have that semi vantage point of what you would have when you're sitting on your couch, yeah, I can see how that's a little diminished. But if you're like more ingrained and closer to the action, you're going to have a vastly different take on this.
You know what always bothers me when I go into a football game live, be it a college or an NFL game? What always feels like a letdown for me is the lack of hearing the broadcasters. Like, of course, you hear the PA broadcaster in the stadium who says like tackle made by, but hearing the actual TV commentators, I think is something that really, really elevates the football experience as well. I know every sport has it. Something about the nature of football and the way that the broadcasters are able to interweave. You can interject a lot in between plays. I always feel disappointed when I'm in a stadium because of that. And I see you smiling. I'm not just saying that because I'm a broadcaster myself. Is that what you're smiling about? Big dog.
I need it. I need it.
I have another game on Sunday. You guys got to give me some other cool phrases that I can say. I've got big dog.
Delta.
The Delta.
Oh, you should use that. That's funny, Nick. The most disappointing thing for me going to see football games in person is the bitterness in my heart watching people play. The whole time I'm going, oh, that should be me out there.
Don't worry, Mike. You'll get over it. That's soon enough. For me. We all went through it.
Come on, that guy.
You throw the ball to that guy. And then I leave and I get really drunk. And I leave to the guy next to me. You know, I played little high school ball myself.
So that's why watching football in person sucks. Everyone has their reasons, right? All right. Sticking with football, we do finally have a deal for TJ Watt, who becomes another highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, as we have seen.
Every contract is that's a record breaker.
Every single one becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. 3-year, $123 million extension, 108 fully guaranteed. And he is now obviously the highest paid non-quarterback. And let's just taking a look at this list here of all of the highest paid non-quarterbacks in the NFL. Obviously, quarterbacks are always going to be the highest paid player in the NFL. When we look here, it's all wide receivers and pass rushers, which with the way the game is right now makes sense. But do you guys think that the game is ever changing and ever evolving? Do you guys think that the sport of football at the professional level will ever evolve again so drastically to the point to where these are not the positions that we're paying the highest contracts to, that it'll be a different position that has the most value outside of quarterback? What do you think?
I think what's going to happen is quarterbacks and their payments have gotten to such a degree that it eats up so much salary cap that they're going to become a separate sort of payment structure, and they're going to have their own salary cap separate from the rest of the team if these things keep going up. And if DNs and wide receivers keep going this way, it's going to be the same. So I think ultimately the salary cap is going to have to be reworked, restructured if you're going to continue to pay guys this much, because they just eat too much of the roster cap. And you can't field a team well enough. And talking about the DNs, as they continue to get paid higher and higher salaries, I think offensive linemen, oddly enough, might end up, especially the tackles, are going to be the ones that are really going to start seeing increases in pay, because there's going to talk about Delta. There's going to be such a difference between like what those guys are getting paid, their output and everything. The offenses are going to need to find a way to really pony up for the guys who are elite dudes, who just don't let up sacks, who can wrangle in those high paid guys like TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, who's probably going to break this.
That's the thing. Bring it. You mentioned the Dallas Cowboys, a little bit of a shell of their former self here, and I feel like Jerry taking his sweet time here with the Micah Parsons deal. Now the market's been set, and they have to beat that. I mean, that's kind of why Micah Parsons also like he's mentioned that on his own podcast here. What do you make of Jerry? He's done this multiple times where he's waited till the last minute, and then other teams set the market, and then he has to pay top dollar for. I'm not saying Micah Parsons is not premier at his position, but for example, Dak Prescott, I don't think is necessarily a top 8, top 10 quarterback, but he's the highest paid quarterback. And this is the result of waiting too long to make these deals get done. What do you make of Jerry doing that?
Yeah, he's shooting himself in the foot, I feel like. But to play devil's advocate, it may be Micah also dragging his feet because he knows he's waiting for that dollar amount so that he can pinpoint it and he doesn't have to make a decision. So I wonder what like the timeline is for that. Like, what's the deadline to actually make a decision or accept or deny an offer, and then you go to free agency, all that kind of stuff. So I wonder what that is. But all in all, historically, it seems like Jerry does continue to shoot himself in the foot with this. I mean, your point about Dak is crazy.
My point about Dak was crazy. What do you mean? You don't agree?
No, your point about Dak and how that all transpired, and now that he's just paying insane amounts of dollars to him. It's crazy that
Is
happens.
crazy. Now, ever since he's just hitting on all his oil wells here, he just feels like he's in the zone here. He does get a skewed perception of the players that he has because he likes them so much. He sort of is, as we saw in Landman, which was really, really authentic and real. He's very much a family guy. So he picks these players. We saw with Dak, with Zeke, also with Micah Parsons as well. I don't know if Micah Parsons deserves to be paid higher than TJ Watt. He's great in the regular season. What does he do? He kind of doesn't really show up against the best teams. A lot of his sacks and TFLs are against the weaker teams in weaker offensive line. I'm not exactly sure the number with TJ Watts where most of his do, but I believe that he is higher performing against better teams. Do you think Micah deserves it?
It's hard to say deserve because I don't like to talk about taking money out of guys' pockets, right? But at the same time, you got Myles Garrett, you got TJ Watt, you got somebody like a Trey Hendrickson, guys who've been in the league a number of years more than Micah that have produced for longer, produced arguably at a higher rate, if not inarguably. So it frustrates me that a lot of guys, there's this like entitlement just because another person who's been doing it for longer and more, and you see your potential being higher than them. You're demanding certain figures. Like we're talking about the second rounders demanding guaranteed contracts and how that's probably going to start becoming more and more frequent, if not the norm. It frustrates me that there's this entitlement just because you have this large picture and grandiose picture of potential of yourself, which is great. It helps you perform and helps you succeed, but that doesn't always translate.
Look at you guys now using the word entitlement about those second rounds, and you bashed me for it.
No, I agreed with you.
One of you bashed me. Mike, was it you? Did you bash me for the entitlement?
Yeah, probably. I love to bash.
Mikey, all right, sticking with football, but let's go college. A man that we love to talk about during the season, but have not talked about for a while. And we're getting ready to talk about him more because college football season is around the corner. 3 minutes. Let's check it out.
We both grew up military families. How had that shaped you as a role model, as a coach, as a man?
I think about growing up and my father instilled in me routine, routine, getting up early, discipline, toughness, work ethic. And those are things that as a father and as a coach and a grown-up that I instill in myself, but also into my children.
Speaking of family, you and your wife have, I'm going to say, half a dozen kids. For those with math problems, that's 6.
That sounds like more than 6. Half a dozen.
Half a dozen sounds like more than 6. It really does. How do you handle the demands of fatherhood on top of the demands of being a head coach at such a big university?
We talk, it's a partnership, it's a blend. For me to be here right now and she's at home with the 6 kids and taking care of the things back in South Bend, but we make it work, right? It's a partnership. I try to blend my home life with my work life as much as I can. That means if my wife can bring 1 or 6 kids into the office and they can be around our players and for me to get a chance to see them, it's important. And so it's a sacrifice. I wouldn't be able to be here if she didn't take care of the things outside of being a head coach at Notre Dame. And so I'm forever grateful for this.
So you got teamwork going on at home. That's as
right.
well. And I have this question I have to ask for my Notre Dame alum and good friends Jimmy Dunn and Justin Tuck. Okay, what's your prediction for Notre Dame this season?
I'm going to say the coach's answer 1-0. We're going to go 1-0. And, I think everybody sits at home and aspires and dreams about, winning every single game you play. But that's wasting time, right? Instead of dreaming about winning every game you play, you better put the work in it takes to win the first one you got ahead of you. And so Jimmy and Justin will understand that concept.
Yes,
so
they do.
That's it, man.
We appreciate you.
God, he's so cool. I just love that guy. He's so cool. And you know what? He did do a little coach speak right there at the end, going 1-0, but he acknowledged it. He's reflective of the nature of coach speak. But a lot of the stuff that he said in there was absolutely golden. Scott, I mean, you're a father. You resonate with any of the stuff that he was saying there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I pale in comparison to his 6 kids. I got 2. Hopefully I can hit 6 one day. But
working.
I think all of us on this show right now, we all come from a massive family, right? Or at least massive family in today's terms. And we all saw our dads work as hard as they did to provide and give us the life that we've received. I love seeing this being a message across the board at such a grand scale, like him being able to talk about these things, similar to how Scotty was talking about it. Granted, he doesn't have 6 kids yet, but what he was talking about earlier in the week and how like fatherhood is his, like, that's the main thing for him. And he doesn't lose track of that. And that's why he likes bringing his family around, having it being a part of his profession, because he sees his players as, pseudo children. And
Right.
I know on this show, we talk about our experiences with D1 coaches and how negative those can be, and how much they could easily talk out of both sides of their mouth in the recruiting process. And I get the sense that, like, while that may be an element of what you have to do just because of the profession, I get the sense that he approaches it from a very personal, fatherly approach,
Sure.
as best he possibly can. And that's churning out. I mean, you see the recruiting class of this year. They got, I think it's 6 former NFL, like top name NFL dudes.
Yes.
Their sons are going to this program. They're seeing this. And we speculated, oh, maybe Bill Belichick will be the one that would be able to get those dudes. Granted, there are some lineages to connections to the Notre Dame crew and everything like that. But at the same time, it seems like he's attracting a lot of former players and their children and their lineages to that program because of the way in which he approaches things, just like this, because he's a no nonsense dude. And he also gets that this is like, there's life outside of football that you need to incorporate. You can learn lessons from the game and bring them out into the real world, and vice versa.
He's kind of we said he's the perfect head coach for Notre Dame football, for a school like that is really, really trying to create the all-around person. I also liked the thing that he said about blending his work and his family. I think this might be a little controversial because some people might not like to do that. Like, for example, here in Germany, there's this clear distinction between your work and your personal life, and they would never touch. You would never bring your children into work or vice versa, anything like this. You don't do that.
That's because you have to see each other as humans.
Not automatons.
Wait a second, that's another person in front of me. I can't just.
But I think if you're doing what you're actually called to do and you actually love it so much, that's just a natural blend that happens. And for Marcus Freeman, he's doing exactly what he should be doing. And like, his children will benefit from being around some of those older guys, those college age guys who are presumably very, very good guys if they're playing football at Notre Dame. And those guys also that will probably benefit from being around the kids in some way and just getting interaction with such a great family. What do you guys make of the blending of professional and family? Do you think it works only if you have the ideal dream job that you feel like you're called for?
Yeah. There's an element of it. It's much easier for him to incorporate that into his profession, because the majority of professions don't allow this. So Mikey was talking about being on the line and making stuff in a factory. You can't bring your family to the factory, like, kind of thing.
Well,
like,
you should be able to. The kids used to go to the factory.
Don't put your fingers in there.
Yeah. So I think he is in a privileged position to say that, but that I hate using that word privilege, but the best part about it is that he's at least using his platform to let this message go out there. Cause it's, regardless of the profession you're in, you got to keep the main thing. It's family, faith in his situation. And he's letting that be known, similar to, as I said, Scotty did earlier in the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you have the pillars and the bricks in the right places, everything else falls into place. And then, like, look at the success they're having on the football field with that foundation of everything at the bottom they're building from the ground up, right?
Yeah, and using his platform, I say this because he's done this multiple times, not just speaking to the importance of family, fatherhood, his spouse and marriage and all that kind of stuff. But even in the Orange Bowl, when he was approached by the reporter, which was, more racially inclined sort of conversation, he recognizes the moment, and he's done this over and over again. He realizes that there's a lot of weight behind his words. And we've seen a lot of people in the limelight utilize their platform that may be massive to say certain things that may, we talk about pander to a certain conversation or situation going on right now, that would position them best to not be necessarily tossed to the side or canceled or anything like that. He understands the weight of his words. So I just appreciate the fact that he uses his platform in these moments to really speak or bring to light great messages for everybody here, because you don't get it all that much.
And he does do it in such an authentic, non-preachy way. I also think that's why former NFL players are responding to that and like entrusting him with their kids to guide them for these next 4 years or whatever it is that they're at the university. I just think he comes across very, very authentically.
I like him a lot.
But
okay. I really like everything that he says, all the words out of his mouth. I love it so much. I got 2 things to say about what I saw in this interview. Number 1, little bit of a schmarm mouth all of a sudden. Nick, we talked about this last week. You saw it out of the gate with a lot of side smiling and, some mouth movements that are a little self-indulgent. Sure. Careful.
Careful. Dancing.
That is a signal that the position and all the attention he's getting is going to his head slightly. The other symbol of that is he started saying right when he was talking about his view or his opinion. He started going, yeah, so with football, right? As if his word is when he started thinking my word is word of God and blah blah blah. Right? You're with me, right? I'm speaking facts, right?
You know what?
Careful with that. Careful with that.
I know what you mean right there. I do have to say, Mike, you're also scarily good at impersonating the schmarmy mouth, which is dangerous within itself. How did you get?
You're playing with fire, Mike.
Okay, Mike. You might end up schmarm mouth yourself.
It's like in The Other Guys where Will Ferrell does the ballet dance. He goes, "We learned how to do it to make fun of the other kids." Remember that?
And now you do it. You're going to start naturally doing it. It's going to become a natural tick. Scott, what do you make of Mikey's pushback?
Yeah, he may be putting on a little bit of a show, but I don't know. That kind of pales in comparison to his actions and his words so far.
Yeah, I agree with everything he said, and I think he's a great coach. Also, I'm just saying 2 things.
Watch it.
Okay, hey,
careful.
And the right on it. The right
is I don't know how anyone can defend the right.
Well, how do you I would say he switched the right out with a because that's the same thing. But it's really just a mental sort of pause so that you can recalibrate if you need to. Because you start a sentence, you don't know where it's going. Sometimes you got to give yourself a little pause.
Should I pull the Michael Scott meme back up, Scott? Sometimes I'll start a sentence and have no idea where it's going. There is something there, and we're gonna keep an eye on it, Mike. Okay, how about we do that? You be in charge. You keep an eye on it for us, okay? We're gonna praise him on the show, but we're gonna keep him in check, okay?
We need a schwarmy radar or a schwarmy meter.
You know what? That actually be great.
That would be great
segment.
Really good. Yeah. Schwarmiest people in athletics because it's dangerous and people inherently recognize it. You might not be able to put a word to it, but you understand it when you see it. Schwarmy meter. Shout out to our father for instilling us schmarmy radar. Okay. Last thing we've got here. Let's turn to golf. Okay. We've got the Open. This is interesting. Okay. So John Ram was teeing off and somebody whistled in his backswing. Take a look at that.
Once find the left rough. Really? Whistling, right? Great time.
Whistling.
Not impressed with somebody behind him. Finds the right rough. Very smart, whoever it was.
Okay, so he's obviously pretty upset right there. This brings up an interesting conversation about the etiquette of sports fans, and who knows if this guy was whistling on purpose or he was just being an idiot and kind of spacing out. But the etiquette of sports fans between different sporting events, because obviously also we talked about Wimbledon and tennis and kind of the buttoned up nature of that. But then you go to like a hockey game and everyone's punching each other in the face. What do you guys make of the different levels of etiquette within sports today?
It's interesting because it's like when you're shooting a free throw in basketball, you have the whole people behind there you got people taking shirts off, doing the noise makers. Same thing with like field goal kickers. The whole crowd's trying to distract them. It's just an interesting difference in environment. It's just about what the standard is and expecting a fan standard. But it's like if it was accepted for golf for the fans to be doing a bunch of crap while people are swinging, that'd be kind of fun to watch.
Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
We get a little bit of it in the waste management, kickoff to the whole PGA Tour, down in Phoenix. Like that's interesting. Granted, I feel like that's opening the floodgates to a whole lot of debauchery. And we've seen it, like the waste management. It's like, that's the one place that you can make noise. You can drink all you want, like all that kind of stuff. And then you see just the drunk golf dad down the road just stumbling into hole 18, falling on the green face first, kind of thing.
They're ruining golf.
They are ruining
words of Shooter McGavin.
I think one of the bigger questions here is like, do you think, I understand there's etiquette, there's tradition, all that kind of stuff behind specific sports and all that, and some fan involvement is part of the game and some and not in others. But do you think it's more impressive when athletes are taunted and have to find their focus and their lane, their mental focus in that sense? Or is it more impressive to do that, or what, say, golfers or tennis do? And do they deserve to be able to have that quiet sort of approach to go ahead and get in that mindset?
An interesting question. Do they deserve it? Because why would a golfer deserve it and a guy shooting free throws not? I don't know. Maybe there is an answer there. For me personally, I actually would prefer the noise because I psych myself out when I'm golfing and it's really quiet. I actually ask people who I'm golfing with, like, hey, go ahead and keep talking. Make any noise you want, because if it gets really, really quiet, then I sort of psych myself out. I actually think it might be more
Everyone's
impressive.
looking at me.
Everyone's looking at me. I actually think it might be more impressive when everything just calms to a whisper, to a silent, like you think about right before a good tennis serve or before a golf shot. I'm like, that void of sound kind of freaks me out. So me personally, I like the sound. What do you guys think?
I'm the same way. I think it's better because then you kind of like have external excuses. So then when you are doing well,
you view it.
It's like, see, I did it. So
you're too loud.
Yeah. It's like, it's good to have
that.
resistance, to go against resistance versus having everything in your favor. And if you mess up, it's on you. That's when you're like, okay, this is really on me.
That's a great articulation of what I'm feeling, because it adds to the pressure. You feel like, well, there's no excuses. It's perfect environment here. Whereas in a football game, people are screaming, it's muddy, whatever. Like, I have these internal excuses, which then gives me the confidence to actually play at my best level, because I'm not worried like, oh, I actually have to. Is this making sense at all?
Yeah, no, it's definitely making sense, I guess. But is it more impressive to be able to perform and find that, call it mindset in a noisy environment, or to do it when there's a perfect environment? Because then you're truly battling yourself. I know we go back and forth as like, what's the most mentally difficult sport?
Right. Here's what I
actually make it.
I think in sort of like the dynamic movement stuff, football, live basketball, like not free throws, basketball, the noise actually kind of helps and it enhances. What's really impressive to me, actually, if I think about it, is a field goal kicker who is also dealing with the noise, because that's such a mental game. That's almost like, it's not a golf swing, but it is. There are similarities there, at least mentally, to that.
Yeah,
you're trying to put a ball, a little bit. And that you have to do with the craziest crowd noise ever and the people trying to distract you. So I would say there, I don't know, but in general, I think it kind of depends sport by sport, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely depends sport by sport. I just, because you get all those stories about, like, I think it's Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or one of the great NFL quarterbacks who talk about, like, there are moments where they get into the zone and everything shuts off, or it may have been a movie that I was influenced by, but like it was that pitching movie with Dennis Quaid, where he gets into that flow state, and all of a sudden everything shuts off and it just goes silent. So like, I want to say that that's more impressive, but I also don't want to be influenced by Hollywood in creating a situation like that. You got to think that happens though when there are such high performers in loud, chaotic sports.
Have you guys ever experienced that flow state like that? I know we haven't really been in NFL stadiums, but Mike, you've been inside like college football, like loud college football. Have you guys ever experienced that where everything kind of like you feel like, oh, I'm so in the zone, nothing can bother me?
Every time I have a football in my hands, that's what's so great about running back. Is that when you're carrying the ball, nothing, can't even think. It's beautiful. It's all just reaction. That's why I love running back so much. It's like your brain is gone. And like you train yourself to have muscle memory to like make your reads. When the ball's in your hand, you're not conscious of your reads. Like you're not thinking, okay, the guy right there. No, it's like you have to really rep it for your subconscious to do it automatically. And so that's what I love about running back. Your brain it's all flow state.
I agree with that. I'm always so appalled when somebody's talking about linebacker and they're like, yeah, I saw this happen and then this happened. And so I decided to do it. It's like, you didn't just go off your instincts and your body just.
You're an idiot.
I don't understand that. Just
it's not how you play.
Put your eyes on the running back and your body will go there. That's how I played. That's all I had. That's all I could do. Scott, did you ever experience it?
Yeah, I definitely experienced it, but I don't think it would be to the level of that scene that I was talking about with Dennis Quaid's movie or whatever when he was pitching the ball. It, like, things didn't shut off, but to your guys' point, it was just like you were doing things so like second nature that you didn't recognize all the other things going on. So like the noise was still there, but you were just moving in a way that you didn't question yourself, you weren't thinking, and you just made it happen.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So it's an interesting conversation when it comes to the different etiquettes and the different environments with the sports.
You know what I think it is? I don't think this answer covers all the sports, but there's something about American derived sports versus European derived sports. I know soccer kind of falls into the European, so, and that's loud. Rugby as well. I don't know about cricket, but
British.
Football, basketball, baseball, American, loud.
True.
All the other ones.
Tennis is British, right? Golf is Scottish. Yeah, it's the Europeans. You know what? Let's blame it on the Europeans. I'm happy to blame it on the Europeans because I am so upset right now to be back in Europe. The delta between how sweaty I am now and how sweaty I was not at the start of the show is absolutely massive. I think that's a great place to end it on. We'll blame Europe on the quiet sports. Okay? There we have it, everybody.